SAFTU, the South African Federation of Trade Unions, announcing at lunchtime today that it's suspending 4 of its senior national office bearers. That's after they'd announced an intention not too long ago to suspend the General Secretary, Zwelinzima Vavi. Our reporter, Katlego Legodi, was at the SAFTU briefing and is with me now in studio to talk about what we've learned today. Katlego, let's talk about who has been suspended and why exactly.
Well, Tembekile, it was a bit of a long press briefing that started with the office bearers, the National Executive Committee members of SAFTU, just basically bringing us into confidence as to how they reached this decision to suspend 4 of their national office bearers, this including the President, Mek Shabalala. We also have the First Deputy President that is also suspended. We have the Deputy Secretary General is suspended as well, and they also have the National Treasurer suspended. So at the heart of this is a violation of their constitution as a federation, saying that it was basically untoward for the President to give the Secretary General Zwelinzima Vavi an opportunity to present reasons why he should not be suspended. I remember the 14 federation of 14 unions took to the media as well, saying that they stand in behind Zwelinzima Vavi. Them basically saying that he did not have a mandate from the National Executive Committee to enforce the suspension against Mr. Zwelinzima Vavi, saying that at that point in time, they also, gave him an opportunity as the National Executive Committee, the President that is, to give them reasons as to why he saw it fit to suspend the Secretary General of the Federation, and them saying as well that they need evidence, tangible evidence, that they can actually convince them as the National Executive Committee that there was some sort of an urgency in implementing the suspension of the Secretary General. So today, they basically were letting the media in on the way forward where this matter is concerned. We know that they said today that the Central Committee is going to meet. The Central Committee is the one that would decide on the fate of this suspended office bearers. Them saying that the Central Committee is the one that basically would work with the information that they have as the National Executive Committee. They take it now to the Central Committee. They've played their part in terms of enforcing what is in their Constitution. Chapter 9 of the Constitution has been violated in terms of enforcing some sort of a suspension to an office bearer. They were not consulted as the Executive Committee, and they took issue with that, saying that also they gave Mr. Mek Shabalala an opportunity to explain himself as to why he saw it fit to bypass the NEC in enforcing that suspension or impending suspension of the Secretary General. And they say that he apologized, but damage was already done. They said that it was 2 weeks of turmoil where, as a federation, they are concerned. And they're saying that this has also put them in bad light where the workers are concerned. You know that they champion issues of workers. And they're saying that all of these divisions and everything that has been playing out in the media, because they took issue also with the fact that Mr. Mek Shabalala has been doing interviews, from one media house to the next, regarding the suspension of Mr. Zwelinzima Vavi. But particular, we saw today, Tembekile, what was interesting is they reached this position of suspending the 4 national office bearers because of a vote. So the matter had to be put to a vote, and everyone that was a representative from all of the unions that form part of the federation had to actually give a yay or a nay.
So, and just as you mentioned the voting, because I was coming to that, the issue with the vote, though, is that NUMSA, its leader, Irvin Jim, was seen as among the reasons why there was a push to suspend Vavi, right? But while NUMSA was part of these discussions, they didn't have voting rights. Why was that?
Most definitely, Tembekile, interesting enough, because we thought NUMSA was also going to be there today and try give us some sort of an explanation as to where they stand. They are, of course, the largest federation where SAFTU is concerned, the largest union where SAFTU is concerned. And we saw today the NEC members coming out to say that the NUMSA did not vote in the process. They said NUMSA was not the only one. I quizzed them in terms of, just giving us the breakdown as to who voted for and who voted against the suspension of Zwelinzima Vavi and actually the suspension of the 4 office bearers. And they were like, no, they're not going to furnish us with that information. It's privy to that information themselves, but they're not going to furnish that. But clear was the fact that NUMSA was not allowed to cast their vote in this process. They're saying that NUMSA at this point in time is not in good standing with the federation, saying that there is a fee that they pay monthly, and at this point in time, NUMSA, along with other unions, had not paid, and in that case, then they actually forfeit having to cast their vote. But
because they're not in good standing.
Yeah, and they're saying as well that this was debated. It's not like a decision that saw yay and a nay, but it was debated. All the facts were put on the table, and all the organizations, were given an opportunity to, reason as to why Mr. Zwelinzima Vavi should be the one that is suspended, or why the office bearers actually, if there is a case in terms of the violation of the constitution of SAFTU. So we saw the NEC today coming forward to say everyone was given an opportunity to debate it, to thrash it out, and those in good standing were then, the process then moved towards those in good standing having to vote.
So, just on the issue of Vavi then, so we're dealing a lot with technicalities, whether the right process was followed in sending him the letter of an intention to suspend him. What about the issues at the heart of that, the allegations against him? Is SAFTU going to look into those at all, or is that all gone now because the people who were trying to suspend him have now been suspended?
Well, SAFTU is going to look into that, particularly saying that this is a matter that is going to now move to their finance committee because his suspension or impending suspension or the suspension that was to be is emanating from allegations around financial misconduct in him, in the claims that he abused, the finances of the federation. They're saying that, when quizzed about it as well, to the four suspended national office bearers, there was no tangible evidence to that effect in terms of maybe we can say a statement that would come out showing that indeed now this money was used to go into Mr. Zwelinzima Vavi's pocket or whatever he was doing with the credit card of the federation. They're saying that the finance committee has now been given that opportunity to probe even further, and those with some sort of evidence are welcome to approach the finance committee. And they're saying that it was just weird because if there was something untoward, the finance committee of the federation was supposed to be the one that raises the matter, before the president and the deputy secretary general could point it out, or any other member that is suspended at this point in time. They were saying that they found it untoward that the division within the federation that deals particularly with finances was not aware of these allegations. They're saying that they've given the federation's financial division an opportunity to now probe even further, because those allegations can't just be swept under the carpet. So they're saying that there's an opportunity now for things to be done procedurally, because the decision that was taken by those now suspended office bearers, including the president, did not follow a procedure. They violated the constitution. They put their federation into disrepute. It's been 2 weeks, they're saying, of just explaining, where they stand, and now they're working towards achieving those 9 objectives that they set out as a federation, saying that even Mr. Vavi coming out to say it's a sad period, for the federation, because they didn't anticipate to find themselves, divided and fighting over positions here, and they're saying that it's an opportunity for them as well as a federation to reflect and ensure that they continue championing the needs of the workers, as they basically came into formation to champion the needs of the workers.
Katlego Legodi, thank you very much for that update. Katlego updating us on that SAFTU briefing held earlier this Sunday.